I typed into Google the easiest way to take your own life. I looked up at the clock and it was 1:17 a.m. I will never forget those numbers. 1:17. I had lost all hope. I thought life wasn't worth living anymore. I had no money in the bank. I had no assets to my name, and I had lost all confidence in myself and my ability to bounce back. A series of really painful events brought me to the edge of a cliff, and I thought I had no choice but to jump. Fortunately, I didn't. The last few years have been nothing but a great ride. Looking back over the last few years, I have to say that it's been an amazing experience for my life and my business. And this time, it didn't come at a price. This time, I didn't have to sacrifice anything to get there. Let me explain. Earlier this year, I challenged myself to question the notion if scaling is always the better option. And in a chart like this, we as a society are only led to believe that up and to the right is the only direction worth considering. We buy books, we join events, we become part of masterminds, all learning about scaling up and growing our businesses. And then when we're at these events, we're all tempted to peacock and show off on how well we did that particular year. And then the influencers don't make it any better because they're all about #hustle at any cost, even if it costs you everything to get there. Hey, look, I'm all for growth, scaling, hustling. Heck, I took my business from zero to multi-million dollars in just a couple of short years. And I know what it's like to do the 80-hour work weeks, especially when starting out. See, when a rocket is flying to the moon, it uses something like 80% of its fuel just to get out of orbit. I get it, but I also realize that with external growth comes internal weight. You see, I wasn't any happier. I was tired, I was stressed, and I was frustrated. And with a young growing family and starting to realize what I really wanted out of life, I had to ask myself, am I building a business around my lifestyle or a lifestyle around my business? Or more specifically and importantly, what kind of life did I really want? And then answer and live a life based on that answer.
What are you having for lunch, Nick?
Calamari tacos and fries, my friend. This is the goods right here.
That looks good.
So when I was in Denver, I was speaking at a conference and I bumped into an old friend of mine. And so we caught up over drinks, we're having dinner. I started telling him these thoughts about scaling down, right? Like working with less clients and doing less of the stuff I didn't want to do and doing more of the stuff that was really important to me. And he said, Nick, you're not scaling down like you say you are. You're actually netting up. And boom, it was like this thing went off in my mind. Netting up, wait a second, what is this? Yes, I was doing less work and working with less clients and traveling less and doing all that stuff. But I was actually making more and I was actually doing the things that were the most important to me in life. And so this idea of netting up hit me. Is like, that is exactly what is true to my life and what stood in my heart. That is exactly a new way to do life and business. Netting up a life and a business on your terms. Which then brings me to pies. Which brings me to this thing. I drew out a pie chart. And in it, I divided it into my ideal ratio of time, energy, hours, and activities of things that truly I loved and gave me life, like family, health, working with really good clients, deepening relationships. So I started to focus on just those few things, only the best things and not just the good things. I think I read somewhere that good was the enemy of best. So when I started to do this, my life started to turn upside down. Not just was my business seeing growth, but also I was happier. I was way less stressed. I got to spend time doing things that I loved with people I loved, like spend more time with my family and taking care of my health. Now when I woke up with joy and my business was bringing me life rather than sucking the life right out of me. So moving forward, I'm going to be intentional about living this netting up lifestyle. In fact, so much so that I'm starting a brand new show called Netting Up. So the Netting Up Show is all about highlights from my Netting Up week. It's about giving you content that matters around business and entrepreneurship, and finally about answering your questions. So join the ride and subscribe. See you next week, and talk soon.